Good morning, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be going over the inscription milling shuffles. Let's go. Okay, so the simple premise of this actual video is by flipping, basically shuffling the stuff into inks and pigments using your inscription. For instance, I bought a stack of 200 star moss for around about 3,000 gold, and I can then turn that into roughly around about 10,000 gold, along with 8 gold a piece for Dreamleaf, which then turns into around about 30,000 gold worth of stuff. So in order to prove my point on this before we cover it any further, I'm literally going to show you guys very quickly the actual gold amount. So this is my macro that we use for TSM, which shows you the gold in my bags. So the total value in my bags is 166,237 gold. And then in a second, once we have finished our mass milling, we can then see how much we've turned everything else into. So that being the case, I shall see you momentarily. Okay, so that took a little while longer than expected, but as you can tell, after doing all of this mass milling with inscription, we are currently sat at a market value in our bags now at 1,439,225 gold. Now obviously we do have just the pigments for the inscription, and we can take this even further. Now it's sat at 1.4 million in our bags from 166,000 gold investment. We can then turn the crimson pigments into crimson ink, which then has a higher sell rate than the actual crimson pigment. This is where we will spend literally only a couple of gold on the distilled water in order to make it into the crimson ink. Yes, it's only a little bit higher on the actual gold value for it, but because it has a higher sell rate, that means people are going to be picking it up even faster than we would as opposed to going into the crimson pigment. With the ultramarine pigment, I don't really bother, as the ultramarine pigments don't have that much of an uptick when it comes to sell rate, so I'm not going to waste my time doing it there. With the viridescent ink, it has a 0.35 sell rate, and with the viridescent pigment, it's at a 0.07 sell rate. So obviously I'm going to want to turn that into the ink. The viridescent ink actually sells for 61 gold as opposed to the viridescent pigment 67 gold, but because the sell rate is so low on the viridescent pigment, we will be wanting to turn it into the ink in order to increase sales for faster return on our investments. Other than that, we can invest this into making some of the scrolls and the codexes of the Quiet Mind, which we can sell those on the auction house for an even higher chance of return on investment. Mainly, I like to make a load of the contracts as well, so I'll probably be doing that as well. I don't really work with the Darkmoon cards of war, mainly because it's really annoying to just go out and farm up Expulsum, and I'm an absolute lazy bugger. But at the end of the day, we want to get a higher return on our investment. And these types of ways are in which we can actually sell these on the auction house. When it comes to the Legion ones, the sell rates are okay at 0.15 and 0.16 for those, but we can turn those into the Legion type glyphs, which have a higher sell rate overall if you just make a batch of these. This is where we'll actually pretty much double our gold again through the glyphs, and this is why I find inscription to be one of the best gold farming methods out there. So this was just a quick video on how you can actually pretty much make a lot of gold just from mass milling, and going from 166,000 gold in investment into Dreamleaf and Star Moss and Yesaril seeds, I then can now have a bag value of around about 1.4 million gold worth of stuff. This is where I'm now going to go over to Borealis and turn these into the viridescent inks and the crimson inks, and then other than that, that is pretty much all I'm probably going to do, besides making a load of the contracts in order to sell in the auction house. Hopefully this guide was a little bit helpful and a bit more shorter for you guys. But to be honest, I just wanted to make it known that you can make a lot of gold with inscription still, even in BFA when the marketplace is absolutely not as good as it once was. That being the case, guys, have a lovely rest of the day, and I shall see you in the next video, which will be Monday. Bye bye.